In May 2013, the bodies of a Dutch volleyball star and her partner were discovered in a shallow grave in southern Spain, triggering a chilling murder investigation that would grip international attention. The victims were Ingrid Visser, a celebrated Olympian who held the record for the most appearances with the Dutch national team, and her partner, Lodewijk Severein. This is a heartbreaking story of love and ambition, cruelly cut short. Ingrid Visser was just 35 years old, a radiant soul with boundless promise, but in the spring of 2013, all her dreams were shattered in the most brutal way, far from home, in a foreign land. Their journey to Spain should have been an ordinary trip, yet it took a sinister turn, one that would end in an unthinkable tragedy. Their gruesome murders sent shockwaves across the world, leaving behind a haunting mystery. Meanwhile, in the rural southeast of Spain, Severein de Alba led a quiet, isolated life on his remote property. He rarely had visitors, but one fateful day, an old friend arrived with an unusual request. Severein had no idea that this encounter would set off a terrifying chain of events, making him question everything he thought he knew. In the days following the visit, he noticed something strange on his land, an unsettling swarm of flies overtaking his lemon grove. As he watched the infestation grow, an eerie suspicion crept in. Could these insects be a sign of something far more sinister lurking beneath the soil? Was the infestation merely a natural occurrence, or was something far more sinister at play? The quiet life that Severein had long known was about to take a dark and unsettling turn. Meanwhile, the loved ones of Ingrid Visser and Lodewijk Severein were growing increasingly desperate. The Dutch couple had traveled to the Spanish region of Murcia for what was meant to be a brief administrative trip. But days passed, and they never returned home. Concerned, family and friends immediately reported them missing, triggering an intense international investigation involving law enforcement from Spain, the Netherlands, and Interpol. As the case unfolded, a grim and unspeakable truth began to emerge, one that would send shockwaves through those who knew and loved Ingrid and Lovey. The fate that had befallen this unsuspecting Dutch pair was more horrific than anyone could have imagined. What dark secrets had they stumbled upon during their fateful trip to Murcia? Ingrid Louise Visser was a celebrated figure in international volleyball. Born in Gouda, Netherlands, in 1977, she had an illustrious career spanning 17 years, playing in over 514 matches across countries like Brazil, Italy, Spain, Russia, and Azerbaijan. At the height of her success, she helped lead the Netherlands to victory in the 1995 European Championship and proudly represented her country at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics. By the time Ingrid reached her mid-30s, she was ready to retire. That's when her life became intertwined with Lodewijk Severein, a former volleyball player and the manager of the Dutch national women's team. Both had previously been married to fellow athletes, but in 2005, their long-standing acquaintance turned into a romantic relationship. Despite their nearly 20-year age gap, their shared passion for volleyball forged an unbreakable bond. Lodewijk wasn't just involved in sports. He was also a successful entrepreneur. Having sold his business for millions, he and Ingrid enjoyed a comfortable life. In 2009, Ingrid moved to Spain to play for Club Atlético Volleyball Murcia, a team owned by flamboyant businessman and marble quarry owner Evadasto León. León, a larger-than-life figure and the mayor of Barinas, had built a world-class women's volleyball team, sparing no expense. Players lived in a luxurious complex with a pool and modern amenities, earning a handsome $90,000 per year. However, just as Ingrid was preparing for the next chapter of her life, the club was plunged into financial ruin. When Spain's construction industry collapsed, so did León's finances. The team declared bankruptcy, leaving players, including Ingrid, high and dry. One of the men assigned to untangle León's financial mess was Juan Cuenca. Ingrid's trust in Cuenca would ultimately prove to be a grave mistake. Despite the turbulence of her volleyball career's end, Ingrid still held a deep love for Spain. She and Lodewijk continued to visit Murcia regularly. During one of these trips, they made a life-changing decision: to start a family. They began IVF treatments at a fertility clinic in Murcia in March 2013, hopeful for their future. But little did they know, this visit would be their last. Unwittingly, They were walking into a trap that would lead to a shocking and gruesome fate. Lovi was always on the lookout for new business ventures, and Spain seemed promising. He kept in close contact with Juan Cuenca, the former technical director of Ingrid's volleyball club. Cuenca proposed an enticing deal: the resale of a marble quarry previously owned by León, the bankrupt club's founder. An evaluation suggested the 259-hectare quarry could be worth a staggering €35 million. Intrigued, Lovi agreed to send an advanced payment to kickstart the venture. He also began reaching out to potential buyers, leveraging his connections in Brazil, Morocco, the Netherlands, and Romania. But what he didn't realize was that this investment would entangle him and Ingrid in a web of deceit, danger, and unimaginable horror. Lodewijk and Cuenca planned to establish a company called Grammar Stone Trade Limited in the tax haven of Galter. This company would serve as the depository for their lucrative profits from the quarry sale, and it was also where Cuenca would finally pay Ingrid the €60,000 in overdue salary he owed her. The unpaid wages had been a constant source of tension between the trio. Every time Ingrid and Lodewijk visited Spain, they tried in vain to retrieve the money from Cuenca and the club's former owner, Leon. However, their efforts always proved fruitless, setting the stage for a tragic turn of events in May 2013. Ingrid Visser and Lodewijk Severein embarked on what was supposed to be a brief 2-day trip to Murcia, Spain. Their visit had two main purposes: a checkup at a fertility clinic and a business meeting with their partner, Juan Cuenca, to discuss a lucrative marble quarry venture. Upon arriving in Murcia, Lodewijk texted his daughters to let them know they had arrived safely. Ingrid, however, chose to keep her phone off for the duration of the trip, severing contact with the outside world. That evening, Ingrid and Lodewijk were set to meet Cuenca at Príncipe de Asturias, the former home stadium of Ingrid's old volleyball club. Lodewijk, however, was not looking forward to the meeting. Months had passed since he had sent Cuenca an advance payment for their joint venture, yet the Spaniard had made no progress in officially registering the company. This delay had angered Lodwijk's Russian investors, putting immense pressure on the situation. Little did Ingrid and Lodewijk know that this meeting with Cuenca would be the last time they were ever seen alive. Lodewijk was growing increasingly desperate to see progress in the business deal. The sale of the marble quarry could not move forward until Cuenca properly registered their joint company, Grammar Stone Trade Limited. Frustrated, Lodewijk expressed his concerns in a series of emails written in English. In one message, he warned Cuenca that his Russian investors were losing faith and even threatening legal action. "I miss the daily info from you. I just wait, and nothing happens. You say what I want to hear, but you're not transparent about the money. I think we had better not see each other until you have transferred the money to me." Despite Lodwijk's growing concerns, Cuenca remained evasive, offering vague reassurances. But Lodwijk's unease only deepened. He confided in his partner, Peter Van Bon, expressing fears that he might encounter Russian mafia figures during his upcoming trip to Spain. Peter warned him to be careful. In a desperate move, Lodewijk even asked Cuenca to procure a firearm for protection, though whether he ever actually received the weapon remains unclear. The stage was set for a fateful encounter, one that would end in unimaginable tragedy. As the weekend of May 18th approached, alarm bells began ringing for Ingrid and Lodwijk's friends and family. The Dutch couple had not returned home from their trip to Murcia. Repeated calls, texts, and emails went unanswered. A concerned family member even contacted the fertility clinic in Murcia, only to learn that Ingrid and Lodewijk had never shown up for their appointment. Spanish authorities were immediately alerted, launching a frantic search. The couple's belongings remained untouched in their hotel room, and their rental car had vanished. Ingrid and Lodewijk had simply disappeared, without a trace. As an international investigation unfolded, a chilling theory began to emerge. The couple, both over 6 feet tall and with distinctive features, would have been hard to miss in the relatively quiet town of Murcia. Yet, somehow, they had vanished into thin air. In the town of Murcia, something sinister had unfolded. Had tragedy befallen the unsuspecting pair, Ingrid Visser and Lodewijk Severein? Their loved ones in the Netherlands maintained constant contact with Spanish authorities, desperate for answers. With the couple's rental car still unaccounted for, Investigators feared the worst, that they had met a tragic fate on Mercia's winding rural roads. As the frantic search for Ingrid and Lodewijk continued, police turned to the couple's closest connections for potential leads. The name that surfaced was Juan Cano Lorente, the former club manager of Ingrid's old volleyball team in Murcia. Ingrid's family suspected Cano's involvement in their mysterious disappearance. When questioned, he initially claimed he had only attempted to arrange a meeting with Lodewijk, but they had never confirmed a time or place. However, investigators soon uncovered this was a blatant lie. Just as Cano was set to provide a formal statement, a crucial piece of information emerged. His own girlfriend, Maria Rosa Vasquez, had seen news reports about the missing couple and recognized them. Vasquez revealed that earlier that week, Cano had asked her to rent a holiday home and drive Ingrid and Lodewijk there. Alarmed by the situation, she wasted no time fleeing north with her children, seeking refuge with family. The web of lies and suspicious behavior surrounding Juan Cano Lorente was quickly unraveling. Yet one question remained: what dark fate had truly befallen Ingrid and Lodewijk? As the investigation intensified, the local Dutch community in Murcia sprang into action. Flyers and missing persons posters bearing the couple's faces blanketed the town. On May 20th, Cano finally arrived at the police station, and his story took a troubling turn. He claimed that Lodewijk had been in the process of purchasing a lucrative marble quarry from Avodas Lafante, the former owner of Ingrid's old volleyball club. Cano even suggested the couple's disappearance could be linked to the Russian mafia. This claim only deepened the mystery. Dutch authorities assisted their Spanish counterparts in the search, confirming that neither Ingrid nor Lodewijk had accessed their bank accounts or contacted friends and family since leaving the Netherlands. A breakthrough came when their rental car was finally located. CCTV footage captured the couple calmly crossing a street near their hotel on May 13th at 8:22 p.m. Their towering statures made them stand out among the evening pedestrians. However, forensic analysis of the vehicle yielded no significant clues, leaving investigators with the daunting task of piecing together their final moments. As the case gained national attention in both Spain and the Netherlands, a tangled web of accusations emerged. Avodas Lafante accused Juan Cano Lorente of fraudulent dealings related to the marble quarry, reportedly the very reason Ingrid and Lodewijk had traveled to Murcia. Suspicious of the conflicting statements, police placed Cano under surveillance and tapped his phone. This decision proved invaluable when a crucial call came in. Maria Rosa Vasquez, now deeply unsettled, referenced the recently recovered rental car in a conversation with Cano. His evasive response only fueled her concerns. When tracked down by police, Vasquez provided shocking details. Cano had asked her to rent a remote holiday home near the quarry for May 13th. He also made an unsettling request for garbage bags, caustic soda, and a circular saw. She recounted driving him to the property, where she encountered two foreign men who seemed suspicious. Later that night, Cano had one more chilling favor to ask Vasquez: to pick up Ingrid and Lodewijk from the Prince Asturias Stadium and drive them to the holiday house. Despite her initial hesitation, she eventually agreed after Cano insisted and covered her fuel costs. CCTV footage confirmed Vasquez approaching the couple outside their hotel and offering them a ride. The 20-kilometer journey to the isolated rental house, Casa Colorá, was their final known movement. When they arrived, Cano was waiting outside, greeting them warmly, and even handing Vasquez money before she left. 2 hours later, he sent her a message, thanking her for her help. Little did she know that errand would become a key piece of evidence in a gruesome crime. As police surveillance on Cano intensified, more damning evidence surfaced. A recorded phone call revealed a man named Valentin Ion demanding payment for a job completed. When authorities searched Casa Colorá, they made a horrifying discovery. Large amounts of blood had been meticulously cleaned up. The gruesome truth soon emerged. Investigators believed that upon arriving at the house, Ingrid and Lodewijk were ambushed. Cano, having no intention of repaying a debt, had orchestrated a brutal attack. Valentin Ion, acting on Cano's orders, viciously beat the couple to death using a crystal ashtray and a decorative vase. Their skulls and faces were shattered beyond recognition. another accomplice, Konstantin, ensured no one escaped. With their lives stolen in a ruthless act of greed, Ingrid and Lodewijk's bodies lay lifeless. Their decorated athletic and business careers ended in a crime of sheer brutality. What followed was even more chilling. Valentin dismembered their corpses with a battery-powered saw, attempting to destroy any trace of their identities. The case had now become one of the most shocking crimes in Murcia's history, and yet the full extent of Quino's monstrous plan was still unraveling. The victims' remains were stuffed into garbage bags and doused in chemicals to accelerate decomposition. Only when all traces were sufficiently concealed and transportable did Juan lead Valentine and Konstantin to a remote lemon grove, where they buried the taped bags beneath the trees. For 2 agonizing weeks, the remains of the unfortunate couple lay undiscovered while their families and entire nations desperately searched for answers to their mysterious disappearance. Meanwhile, their killers scrambled to erase evidence and profit from Ingrid and Loic's deaths through Hanan's sinister dealings. However, justice would not evade them for long. A breakthrough came on May 25th when police arrested Hanan Quino. During interrogation, he admitted to being present for the disposal of the bodies but denied committing the murders. Seeking leniency, Quino led authorities to the remote property of his old friend Sarapen de Alba on the outskirts of Mijas. There, hidden within a secluded lemon grove, the gruesome truth was uncovered. According to de Alba, on May 15th, around the time Ingrid and Lodewijk were supposed to return home, Juan Quino arrived at his property with 2 Romanian associates, Valentine Ion and Konstantin Stan. Unaware of their true intentions, de Alba allowed them to dispose of what they claimed was garbage on his land. Valentine and Konstantin dug 2 graves, each approximately 2 meters wide and half a meter deep, beneath the lemon trees. They placed black garbage bags inside, covered them with caustic soda, and refilled the holes. Despite their efforts to mask the crime, the site quickly became infested with thousands of flies. When authorities exhumed the graves, the level of decomposition and damage from the corrosive chemicals made immediate identification impossible. However, the horrifying fate of Ingrid Visser and Lodewijk Severein had become unmistakably clear. Before leaving, Juan asked Sarapen de Alba to hold on to a few items: a circular saw, an axe, and a diesel saw, along with a set of keys. He explained that Maria Rosa would retrieve the keys on Sunday to return them to the rental property owner. The police swiftly located the graves, which were disturbingly close to de Alba's home. Due to the dismemberment and severe chemical damage, identifying the bodies remained challenging. However, the following day, authorities charged 36-year-old Juan Quino, along with his 2 Romanian accomplices, Valentine Ion and Konstantin Stan. Quino denied being present during the murders, instead implicating Evodio Leonte as the mastermind. However, after a thorough investigation, police found no evidence linking Leonte to the killings, concluding that he too had been manipulated by Quino for years. On May 31st, DNA tests confirmed the remains belonged to Ingrid Visser and Lodewijk Severein. Initial reports suggested the couple had been tortured, but this was later disproven. A heartbreaking revelation emerged. Ingrid's IVF treatment had been successful, and she was pregnant at the time of her murder. 2 weeks later, the remains were repatriated to the Netherlands, where an emotional memorial service was held in Ingrid's hometown of Almere. Countless athletes and friends gathered to pay their respects, mourning the tragic loss. As grief consumed their loved ones, the case took another turn. 2 additional suspects were named: Juan Quino's girlfriend, Maria Rosa Vasquez, and Sarapen de Alba, the landowner where the bodies were found. After months of silence, Ion and Stan finally broke, offering a new version of events. They claimed a Russian man named Danovich held a grudge against Lodewijk and was the true murderer. According to their story, Danovich forced them to dispose of the bodies under threat of violence. However, police found no records of anyone by that name arriving in the area during the time frame of the crime. Their account described a violent argument between Lodewijk and the alleged Russian suspect, during which Lodewijk pulled a gun. Danovich reportedly knocked it away, leading Ingrid to pick it up. At that moment, they claimed, Danovich lost control and brutally attacked the couple with objects from the living room, including an ashtray. Ion and Stan insisted they only purchased the circular saw the next day, but witnesses contradicted this, stating they were seen buying supplies en route to the crime scene, suggesting premeditation. It would take over a year for the case to reach the courtroom. On October 3, 2014, Quino, Ion, and Stan finally faced trial, with prosecutors demanding 50-year sentences. A proposed plea deal for manslaughter and 20-year sentences was rejected. Then, in a shocking turn of events in October 2016, Valentin Ion changed his story once again, this time confessing to the murders. He claimed Quino had offered him 15,000 euros to kill the couple, but had only paid him 200 euro in advance. He alleged that Lodewijk threw the first punch and even pointed a gun at Quino, escalating the violence. Ion admitted to beating Ingrid and Lodewijk to death with an axe and a crystal ashtray. He also implicated Severein de Alba, stating the landowner was aware of their efforts to conceal the crime on his property. On October 27, 2016, the Provincial Court of Mijas found Juan Quino and Valentin Ion guilty of murder, sentencing them each to 34 years in prison. Constantine Stan was acquitted of murder but convicted for aiding and disposing of the bodies. Unsatisfied with the sentences, the prosecution appealed, and in March 2017, the prison terms for Quino and Ion were increased to 40 years each. This senseless crime, driven by greed, robbed the world of two bright souls: Lodewijk, a devoted father, businessman, and friend, and Ingrid, a cherished family member, teammate, and inspiration to many. Their unborn child never had the chance to live the life its parents had fought so hard to build. To honor Ingrid's memory, the Dutch national volleyball team retired her jersey number 15, a lasting tribute to the athlete who gave so much to the sport she loved. Though justice was served, the loss of Ingrid Visser and Lodewijk Severein left an indelible mark on those who knew and admired them. May their souls rest in peace. Thank you for joining us on this investigation. If you found this case compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on our latest releases. Hit the notification bell to never miss an update, and keep puzzling.